Hi everyone, so today's video has been inspired by a message that I received, and it was a message that I received from a visitor to my pop-up. And I don't know, I get lots of messages on kind of through DMs or, on Facebook or on social media or sometimes emails, and just such lovely, beautiful messages. And if you've ever sent me one, I just want to say thank you so much, because they really mean the world to me. Sometimes they'll just be saying about how a video helped them through a particular event in their life, or how they did their makeup for something, or how it gave them confidence, or a visit to my pop-up, or a product of mine that they use, a lipstick, and yeah, just lovely, wonderful, wonderful messages. So if you've ever sent me anything like that, I just want to say thank you so much. Anyway, last week I got a message from our model today, whose name is Emma. And she sent me a before and after photograph because she suffered with rosacea for her whole life. And she'd been into the pop-up and she'd been matched on a foundation, and she was just really happy. And she just spoke really eloquently about having had rosacea and the struggles that she'd had, and how makeup had really given her confidence. And it just really was, I was just bowled away. I replied to her straight away. And, I always read all of the messages like that. Even if it comes through on a DM and one of my team picks it up, they always send it to me. And I just... it just makes everything worthwhile for me. So I just thought, well, maybe come in and do a video, because it'd be really interesting to see which skincare you're using, which products you've been successful with. And also, I'd love to meet you. So we've got her here today, so I'm very excited. And I have asked her to bring her skincare with her. And I also asked her to send me pictures of looks that she'd like to see. Like, is there a look that she's always wanted to do, but maybe hasn't been able to do it? And she has actually shared those with me. So I'm going to be copying one of the looks. It's quite glam, but not too over the top, and that's the look I'm going to be doing on her. So please give a warm welcome to the beautiful Emma. So Emma, you've already done your skincare, which is very nice of you. Saved me a job. But I'd love you to talk us through your skincare, because I think anyone watching at home that has rosacea would probably love to hear your journey, so to speak. So you use the hydrating cleanser.
Yes. So
when did you get into this one?
So I'd had a couple of people recommend CeraVe as a brand to me, and I'd never used it before. I'm very nervous when it comes to new skincare brands for obvious reasons, I think, because, I've had instances of redness or breakouts or bad reactions that have, caused some serious problems for quite a long time. So I'm always really nervous. So I do a lot of reading and a lot of research when it comes to skincare stuff. This one has just worked really, really well for me. So that's it feels really nice on the skin. It's really kind of hydrating. Yeah. It doesn't make my skin angry.
That's really good.
So that's step one.
So that's your morning, or is that your evening as well?
So I do that in the morning and the evening.
Morning and the evening. And you use the Bioderma to take off makeup?
Bioderma to take off makeup, yeah.
Okay, great. And then you've got your spray SPF.
Yes,
so you've got the Kate Somerville.
Yeah, so I use. Somebody recommended this to me. It's like I'm always on the lookout for dual products.
Sorry, I just see that you've got your. Yes, I love this.
Yeah, so I love that La Roche-Posay again. I've had a bit of hit and miss with some of their some of their brands. So some of the like the Toleraine, for example, just doesn't seem to agree with me.
For some people, it just shows you how different it is for everyone.
Exactly.
It is really trial and error, isn't it?
Yeah, but this one I think is fab. So use that under makeup. But then when I'm conscious if I'm putting too many products on my face, which makes me nervous as a rosacea sufferer, because I start to think too much on angry skin is going to make my skin even angrier. I try to keep an eye out for things that are like dual products, and somebody had recommended this. In fact, it was bought for me by some friends for my birthday.
It's looking out for you.
It's an SPF and a setting spray.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? And you're on the Ember Release for your moisturiser.
Yep.
And your eye repair is CeraVe again.
Yes.
So they're great. And then how often do you do this, which is the... your daily peel?
Yeah, so very, very rarely. I mean,
Okay.
daily peel being the irony, but I think probably maybe once every 2 months, if that.
Okay.
So if I feel like I've got quite a lot of dryness, because I've got a combination of either quite an oily T-zone or dryness patches on my skin. And if the dryness starts to build up, I tend to use that.
Right.
But it's normally at a time where I'm not going to be putting makeup on for a couple of days.
Yeah, the pads. So it's almost like a monthly treatment or something, or a couple of times a month, is it? Yeah. Perfect. And your last step is you use the Bye Bye Redness, which is the It Cosmetics. And do you use this every day, or you just use this for sort of underneath your makeup?
So I use it for underneath my makeup when it's normally when it's occasions. So like if I really want to make sure my redness stays at bay for as long as possible.
It's like a pre-concealer type thing. I would like to try that. I've not used that before.
It's quite thick, and you don't need a lot of it.
Yeah, I can see that.
It goes quite a long way.
I need a tiny amount. Okay, well I think that's really good. So I'm going to start doing your base since you've already done your skin prep. I will try your product as well. I'll try this one underneath, and we'll talk about the look we're going to do, because you've given me pictures. I love it. Love it when someone comes with wishes and what they'd like. So that's fantastic. So I'll start doing your base, and what I'd love to hear as well is a little bit about your journey with rosacea. How long you've had it. Just your story really.
Yeah, so if you look at pictures of me when I'm about 6 months old, I'm like a bright red-cheeked baby, which I think everyone thought was very cute when you're 6 months old. And then that never really went away. So I kind of struggled with redness in my skin my whole life, really. It was quite prominent when I was a teenager, which was, it's always great.
Can be fun.
Throwing a bit of acne in there as well, and
so you had the oiliness and the dryness.
Yeah, and I've always suffered with quite dry skin. So I think a lot of the fear came from not knowing what proper skincare to use, because I was so nervous about things that would set off like a rosacea flare up or cause problems.
And no information back then, probably.
No, very little.
Like no one really talked about rosacea, did they? It was acne, that was the main thing, or dry skin, but rosacea kind of fell by the wayside. It wasn't discussed.
And sort of teen kind of face wash brands and things like that were always used quite harsh chemicals and things like that. So it was always really hard to know what to rely on. My mum, she's got some redness in her skin too, and she used Clinique products for quite a long time. So I started by using those when I was younger, and I found that they were quite good. Yeah. And then obviously as products develop and things get better as time goes on, I've found some things that really suit me. But
you started researching more.
Yeah, doing a lot of reading. It feels like you realise how much of a science it all kind of is when it comes to
it's
skin.
a mixture of science and then personal, There's always something that you think that ticked all the boxes, but it didn't suit me, and you can't really explain. I mean, I always say that with skincare with clients. They'll say they really like something. I'm really sure. And they'll be like, yeah, and it really works for my skin. I'm like, okay. Yeah. If you feel good and it's working, then it's that's good. So I'm going to use my foundation. This is how we met, because you came to get matched. So you are shade 7. So I'm going to pop this on. So is your mum still having a bit of rosacea? Yeah,
so she does. It's quite nice really, because you can sort of see the changes that your skin goes through on behalf of somebody else.
Okay, so she's leading the way.
She's leading the way for finding new things as her skin changes. So that's really helpful actually. But yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, I don't know a lot about the science of rosacea and why some people get it.
I mean, there is a genetic element to it, which it sounds like it's there. What aggravates it then in terms of lifestyle, or is it?
Stress is always a good one.
Stress is a big one.
Which, I always try and keep as low as possible, but don't we all, I guess?
Yeah, we all try for that.
But yeah, I'd say also the sun can be my worst enemy.
Yeah.
So I try to find an SPF that works, as well as possible, whilst something that's not going to sit on my skin all day, every day, while I'm in sort of direct sunlight. Yeah. So I'll often just find me seeking shade on holiday, to be quite honest. Keeping out of direct sun as best I can. So that can cause some issues. I also think piling on too much makeup. I often notice sort of if I've been for a big night out, or you know, it's a big birthday function or something like that, and I've worn more makeup than I normally would.
Yeah.
That it tends to be pretty angry the next day.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of finding a good balance between, you know,
Yeah.
wanting to look nice, wanting to look different, wanting to be able to celebrate nice occasions, and then not suffer the consequences.
Sure. Do you know when I was developing this foundation, actually, my school friend had exactly the same issues as you at school. She still has them.
Oh, really?
But she has that dryness, and she has the rosacea, and she actually used to have eczema around her eyes as well.
Oh.
So when I was developing, she was my tester.
That's great.
Yeah, Annette, and that's her name. So I was like, I'm going to do a foundation with no fragrance and no alcohol. She was like, oh, can I test it for you? And I was like, well, I need you to test it because, you know, she has so many kind of issues. So I kind of grew up with listening to her talk about her skin and all her issues. So I was excited that I was able to kind of help her in a way. And she's really into it.
It's so potluck, and I think, you know, that fear of thinking, oh, I'm keen to give something new a try, but I'm cautious in case we're back to providing
so
doctor's
is fragrance
letters
a big thing for you? Are you sort of...
Yeah, so I tend to stay away from anything that's like really heavily perfumed, because that can again irritate, especially sort of like the skin on my cheeks. And I've had instances where, you know, skin starts to crack and things like that, and it can get really nasty. And actually, you know, from brands that you wouldn't necessarily, you'd think, oh, surely I'm in safe hands here, you know, but because it's just so personal to individuals, it's real potluck. But yeah, what I really love about this, and I still remember sort of being in the pop-up shop, and it's a lovely lady that did my makeup there, and I'm always really nervous when I'm out, and I tend not to try new things because I think I have to take all my makeup off and then start something new, and if I get a reaction, then I'm makeupless for the entire day.
Yeah.
But they were really nice, and they put me at ease, and they sort of said, you know, let's give it a go. I think it could be a winner. And I was so surprised by how sort of instant the coverage feels, whilst feeling very lightweight and not
like
cakey.
Too much makeup, which is always good.
Because the fuller coverage tends to feel cakey on my skin, and then I start to panic that I'm going to suffer.
yeah, we don't want that. I'm actually just going to go back in with a touch of the foundation, just a little bit extra on your cheek, so not all over, because I've put a layer all over, and I think we've done a really good job there of covering. So I'm just going to I'll do a tiny bit of pinpoint as well, but I'm just going to, it's pretty good that. Looking good. So the look we're going to do, which I'm excited about, you brought me some very glam makeup looks, but beautifully clean, I'd say. And explain to everyone what was the look you wanted, because I left a message with my team saying, please find out what's the look that she wants, because sometimes I think, if someone's going to come get their makeup done, maybe there's a look that they've always wanted to try and they just never had the nerve to try it or didn't think they could do it. So although I've got ideas, obviously, sometimes it's just so nice to ask and see what kind of pictures you come back with. So tell everyone at home all about your look.
So for me, I think it's something that's pretty. So I'd sort of kind of describe it as occasion makeup for a special occasion, but maybe something like a wedding guest or, you know, for a date night or something like that, which feels like it's got a bit more staying power.
Sure.
It's going to stay looking glamorous for the whole day.
Yeah.
But isn't too OTT.
Right.
So I like a bright lipstick. I like a smoky eye look. I love a winged liner, all of those kind of things. But I'm always a little bit nervous when it comes to glamorous makeup, because I think glamorous makeup equals a lot of makeup, and then that's going to make my skin angry. Yeah. So finding a fine line between being able to have a glamorous look whilst not feeling like I've got put my makeup on with a trowel. Right.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to do that. Oh, brilliant. So I am not going to do your under eye concealing yet, because I'm going to go onto your eyes first. Okay. So basic skin's done. So obviously we're going to do all of our other skin bits, but I feel like I wanted to do that because I know you'll be more comfortable as well. I know you were saying this morning, like, travelling here with no makeup on, which, by the way, you didn't need to do. You could have come in your makeup, I would have taken it off you and redone your skincare, but, you know, I know what you mean. So
Yeah, I think it's in your... I mean, I think when you've got something like rosacea, sometimes people will say, oh, it's not that bad, or, oh, I've never really noticed. And it's always the way.
That's true, by the way, they haven't. You know that, right?
Absolutely. But I think it's just sometimes it's that you go back to being sort of like that 12-year-old that's at school and you think, oh, my face looks really red and I can't do anything about it because I'm not allowed to wear makeup to school. And, you know, how do you get around those things? And I think the older that I've got, the more sort of at peace I've been with it.
So I'm just going to put a base colour over your lid, and this is this sort of stone colour.
So do you think there are colours that are better for certain eye colours that, you know, you should lean towards if you've got brown eyes? Or
there is that theory. I mean, that's a nice way to do it. If you think like the opposite colour on the colour spectrum will always make your eyes really pop. So if you think like orange is opposite blue, so bronzy oranges on blue eyes are amazing.
Yeah.
And then on a sort of warm brown hazel eye, purples, same on green.
Yeah.
And then on darker brown eyes, anything that's silvery is obviously quite opposite. But having said that, I think it's a little bit too dogmatic to say like they're the only shades you can wear, because skin tone comes into it, and also just like colours that you really like. You know, if you feel really drawn towards a colour and you think, oh, I love that colour, you can probably make it work. I mean, the only time it gets a bit tricky is when you're, for example, if you do have a lot of red in your skin, and you're using eyeshadows that maybe have a lot of red in, just make sure that you've neutralised the redness in your skin. Otherwise, around the eyes will kind of make the skin look redder in a way. They kind of pick each other up. Okay, I'm going to start just building up a little bit into the socket line now. And I'm going to use a kind of bit of a mix, this sort of cool brown tone with a touch of grey. So we're just starting to shape and smoke up your eyes a little bit. Just keeping it really soft. I'm going to do a bit more shape once I get your lashes and things on, but at the moment just looking straight ahead. So just kind of really just creating a bit more shape in there.
And what about brushes and things? I mean, I always seem to see things that say a big fluffy brush. That seems to be the only one I ever read about that everyone must have. And I never really know what I'm doing with my brushes. I'm just sort of just applying it on and hoping for the best.
Well, it's just, I think a big fluffy brush, the reason that's quite good is because in general, I think when you're applying, sometimes you apply too much in one go. I mean, I go very slowly, so I apply bit by bit. But often, if you're not great at applying, something like a really big fluffy brush, like this, for example, it just means that you can really kind of break down any edges. So it is good to have something that's just big and fluffy, even if you only use it at the end just to blend everything in. And it just helps you get that more kind of seamless edge. Because it can be difficult, you know, if you kind of got quite small brushes, you do end up sometimes with a little bit more of a strong edge to the makeup.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's only me, but I feel like whenever I try to follow a tutorial or wherever I see something that I like, I think it's a bit like paint by numbers. I've got to do that step and I've got to do that step, and it's not going to look the same if I don't do that. And then if you think you got one bit wrong, then, you know, and the brushes seem to be really important, and then it looks like 3 blocks of colour on your eye and really strange. And I think, oh dear.
Yeah, and everyone's eyes sort of different shapes.
Professionals.
So I think like just looking ahead, for example, into the mirror when you're doing your eyes as well really helps. Because if you almost keep your eyes closed the whole time, then you're for a bit of a shock when you open them, because you haven't really seen what you've got yet. Whereas if you keep sort of stepping back and just having a look, just adding a little bit of plum in there actually into the brown, just a touch there. Yeah, just keep stepping back. And I always feel like if you're not 100% sure, start slowly, because by the time you've got your mascara on, any lashes that you're putting on, you know, and you look at yourself again in the mirror, you'll be like, oh, actually, you know, I can put more here or more there. Whereas once you've put too much on or a lot on, it's hard to then step back from there. Whereas the other way around, like I often, once I get sort of mascara and lashes and things on, that's when I'll start to really kind of shape the eyes, because I can see then, oh, that's how the eye shape looks once the lashes are on. And, you know, now that the brows are sort of lengthened or thickened or whatever I'm doing with the brows, I feel like, oh, I don't want to put any more eye makeup on, or, you know, so it's hard to go back, but it's easy to add more.
You know, I remember my mum saying to us when we were growing up, she's like, you know, you don't have to wear makeup, but she used to love it. She said, you know, it just makes me feel better. And I think on a rubbish day, I feel like, you know, red lipstick should be available on NHS prescription. It really should.
I love you.
Just a lipstick can change your entire outlook on the day. And I know that sounds like such a silly thing to say, because it's makeup, but it really does.
It really does change things.
And especially, I think, you know, for other rosacea sufferers, it's not like a mask. You know, you're perfect as you are, but I think just that confidence boost that makeup can give you when there's something that you feel like you're wanting to cover up, or you know, you're wanting to change.
Yes,
it just helps you face the day, doesn't it? And
absolutely.
All for whatever that is. For whatever works for anyone, I think.
I completely agree with you. I'm just using a little bit of shimmer on your eyelids, since we're going to be having a little shimmery moment here.
Love a bit of sparkle.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm just going to do a little bit of pencil now. Just look down for me. I'm going to go really just inside that lower lash line. Close, actually, might feel a bit more comfortable. Go quite thin in the centre, and then open for me, and just look sort of that way, look down a little bit. Sorry if this feels a bit weird. And then just look down again. Just gonna go. I'm gonna smoke this a little bit, but I'm gonna wait till we've got lashes on. Actually, I've changed my mind. I'm gonna soften it first, and then once the lashes are on, take it from there. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to torture you with a little bit of eyelash curling, if that's okay. That feel all right?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
I'm a seasoned pro now.
Oh yeah, did you not used to do it?
No, and then I invested in the Shuamura ones, and they are a game changer. I've bought them for so many people.
Yeah.
That's just a gift that you think you would never buy yourself,
and
you didn't realise that you needed literally every day.
And then when you get it, it's like game changer.
Yeah. I mean, I say that. I haven't received the specific feedback from people that I've given them to, but
I bet
I think
the fact that you haven't heard back,
I know I've changed their lives.
You have,
so it's okay.
Just going to put a little slick of mascara on. Look down for me. So I'm just going to drop on one of these lashes, and I have put the white glue on because I know that you're allergic to the black glue.
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
Yeah, I don't know why. So I was really excited when the black glue came out, because I thought, oh, it's, you know, so that's a genius idea. Why hasn't that been thought of before? Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I bought it, and I was really excited to try it. Sort of put my lashes on, ready for a night out, because it's the only thing that makes my face look different, I think. For my daytime look and my party look is exactly the same, just with a pair of false eyelashes.
Okay.
And yeah, it made my eyes really sting. So I don't know whether it was something maybe in the colourant, or I'm not really sure.
Absolutely, it sounds like that. Well, once these are on and settled in, because I know with the white glue you get a little bit of a shiny look, so I'm going to show you how you can just mattify that.
Yeah.
And it will look exactly like black glue then. So now the glue's nearly dry, I'm going to go in with a matte black liner. So this is a liquid, but it dries really, really matte. I'm just going to cover all of that glue so that you don't see that, either in pictures or just if you're out and about and you don't want to be looking down and seeing a shiny, shiny white strip. So give that a second to dry.
That's a really good tip, that, because yeah, I was really disappointed when the black glue was a fail.
Let me just go along. Yeah, I always do this on my clients, because on the red carpet pictures everything shows up, and I do not want a shiny lash band showing up. Thank you very much.
No.
I'm just going to give the game away.
All the secrets.
Look that way down again there. I'm just going to do a little bit of liner there, just to join up that band. So I'm just going to use a little bit of black powder now, just to smoke that lash line up. Smoke up the outer edge as well. Just look straight ahead there. So just bring a little bit of smokiness. Onto concealer, and I'm going to use this Tarte Shape Tape. I'm just going to use it quite lightly though. This is the light neutral one, and I think it's really good shade for you, and it blends really well with shade number 7 foundation.
Yeah, it's so nice to be shade 7 in something for a change, rather than 1 or -1 or alabaster.
Oh yeah.
I'm always something like Ghost. They've always got such harsh names like that, haven't they?
Yeah,
like
they do.
Ghostly, transparent. The pale children will you see up the universe one day. But yeah, I think they should have different names. You know,
what would you like? I mean, numbers is good, right? You're happy to be 7. Number 7.
Great, that's a big
Come
change.
in number 7, yeah. So what do you think?
You know, it needs to be something like Milky Goddess or Ethereal Queen, not like Pasty Cod.
Brilliant. It is quite a full coverage one, but I think people think if you have to put a load on, but you don't. If something's got good coverage, you only need a tiny bit. Sometimes when you watch the amount of concealer that goes on faces, you're like, oh my God, how can this even be possible? And
do you think, so I often see things like under eye concealer, and I think, oh, should I be having a concealer for my under eyes and then a different one for my face? Or
not necessarily. If you're happy with the same one, you know, in both places, then it's fine.
Okay.
I mean, some people use it more to highlight, so in which case you want a lighter one. But if you haven't got very deep under eye, you know, you're not dark under your eyes particularly.
Not yet.
So no, not at all. You're really not.
See me on a Sunday afternoon, maybe different.
Yeah, maybe.
After a long weekend.
Okay, gotcha. Right, I'm going to go back in with the smoky colour that we used just above your eyes. Look up, my darling. And just start to give you a little bit of smokiness there, just subtly. I'll put a little bit of shine here as well in a moment. Just to finish off your eyes. I love these lashes on you, you know. Yeah, they look really good.
It's great to find another pair. I think, you know, when something gets discontinued and then you think, oh no, the search begins.
Oh, right. You had a pair that you liked that got discontinued.
Yeah, I had a pair of Millie Mackintosh ones that I really loved. She only did them for a little while.
Okay.
So it's great to feel like I've nailed the ones that are for me now. Because
Right,
I always say, I think the 3 things that are hardest to find are lashes, a foundation. So that's 2 out of 3 now.
Yeah.
And then jeans.
Oh my God.
So
You've
if you
got
can
to write a
help with jeans,
book. I love all this. You have to write a book.
that'd be great.
But jeans, yeah. Oh my God, jeans are so hard to get right.
But I think with foundation as well, like something that stays, something that doesn't irritate. Obviously, when you've got rosacea, is it going to, you know, cause a reaction? Is the colour right? Is there's so many things to think about.
So many variables at play.
Yeah. So it's great. Number 7 for life. Get some merchandise made.
Great. So I'm not allowed to discontinue that one.
No.
Okay,
Please
you're going to
don't.
come and get me. Look up, darling. Just going to use that shimmery shade that I just used in the centre, just to blend in a little bit under there, on top of the smokiness. Let's see that. So I like it.
Lovely for Christmas time as well. Bit of shimmer.
Yeah, definitely. So are you going to be a wedding guest, or you just wanted to have like a wedding guest makeup?
No, I am going to be a wedding guest. Always. I basically would describe myself as a semi-professional wedding guest. I've been to about 35 weddings.
Oh wow!
We've got in the last sort of 10 years. No family members.
Oh, okay.
So all the people I'd say are closest to me, none of them have got married yet. So my sister, my best friend from university, my best friends from home, none of them have got married, apart from one. So yeah, I don't know why. And I'm always that person that gets sat at the, you know, the kind of...
You sure you're not a wedding crasher?
Yeah, no.
You wedding crasher?
The oddball table, you know. Oh, Emma will chat to anyone. Put her next to...
Okay, you get the awkward...
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh, that's...
The amount of times you catch yourself saying, oh, and what type of agricultural farming exactly are you involved in, David?
No.
You know, and you think, oh gosh. At least my makeup will look nice though, so it's fine.
Absolutely. Just going to go a little bit more smoky at this outer edge here. Let's just see. And let me just buff that in a bit.
So yeah, my cousin's getting married in April next year. So.
Okay. Is it in the UK or are you travelling?
Yes, no, in the UK. So yeah, I can give it another trial run.
Great. I'm going to put you a nice palette together of all your eye colours. Got your base. We've got a set of lashes for you to take. So just got to do a little bit of practice and then you'll be set and ready to go.
Perfect.
Okay, so lower lashes on, brows incoming. Let's have a look. Right, I'm going to use a pencil. It's quite a nice light colour though. This is an old classic one from MAC. It's one of my favourite kind of blonde colours. So what's your brow story? Have you got one?
I think they're still recovering from the 90s brow phase slightly. I love those big, like, healthy looking brows that people have now, but I'm just not sure that it kind of suits my face shape. I don't know.
Were they quite thick before you did the 90s thing, or did you always have quite a slim?
Yeah, they've always been quite slim actually.
Yeah.
I always think it's really strange when people say, "Oh, I'm going to grow out my brows." I think I don't even know where I'd start doing that. Can you do that? Can you just grow out your brows?
I think if you naturally have full brows and you've overplucked them, then with brow serums, they do come back.
Yeah.
You use it every day. But you can't just suddenly go from that to sort of Cara Delevingne, if you like, never had thick brows before. I'm going to fill them in a bit, and we're just going to give them some nice gel just to give them a little bit more thickness.
Because they're really having a moment, aren't they, brows? It feels like everything I read is
either bleached brow or pink brow or a plucked brow or a really thin brow or a really thick brow. I know, it's all about the brows.
I do love that though when they talk about 90s fashion and they're like, if you're going to do 90s fashion, like, to the Gen Z.
I mean, thin brows are really back in fashion. I never plucked mine in the 90s, and I was kind of, at the time I felt really like unfashionable, but then I just felt like, I don't know, it was too painful and I just couldn't imagine myself with thin brows, so I didn't do it, but I was quite lucky really.
Yeah, who's laughing now?
So I'm just going to use a little bit of brow gel just to gel those babies up, but they're so on trend. You're right on trend there, darling. So on to contouring, and I'm going to use this really good shade by Fenty. This is called In the Sun, and it's really nice and ashy, so it doesn't have any of the oranginess. It's quite neutral and shadowy, so it's not going to give you that, add any redness to the skin. Just going to put a little bit on there, quite natural.
Because that's the thing I'm always afraid of. I think, I've done so much hard work to take the redness away, and then you
want to brush in a load of red,
put it more back on.
Yeah, the main place you want it is up by the ear, so you really want to kind of think about coming in here, because there you can get away with quite a lot, and then you can always just blend that in. Whereas if you bring that all the way down to sort of here, you start to really see it.
Yeah.
But that really sort of brings in the shape as well. So I'm just going over and building up very gently. Don't want to aggravate. I'm going to do a touch of blush as well, which I know you're probably thinking, no, don't. But I think you can still do a touch of blush if it's in the right place. And I'm just going to go a little bit there, and I'm almost tapping very gently so we're not roughing up the base too much.
Yeah, that's what I'm always kind of worried about. I think with brushes, if I use a brush that's too firm or something, and it's going to aggravate the skin underneath, especially with the redness. And other people with rosacea, I guess, are probably very nervous when it comes to doing anything in your cheeks. I know I am, and you're sort of always overcautious, which is why I tend to stay away from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like you're sort of exfoliating your face on brushes, I feel, and wow.
But then it looks odd without, so
yeah,
it's a fine balance. It's obviously like just tap it.
Does this feel light?
Yes, yeah.
And that's really is probably as much as you want to press, really. So in the interest of soft glam, we're going to go in with a little highlighter. I'm actually just going to use, because it's a finishing touch, I'm going to use a little bit of powder highlighter high on those cheekbones. You have those wonderful cheekbones. Look up, darling. There we go.
What
She
does that
is
aim to do?
shining. I just love a little bit of light at the inner corner of the eyes. It just kind of lifts the whole thing. Just look straight ahead. Just pops a little bit. Just touch of powder. Centre, sides of nose, chin, between the brows. That's all we need. Lovely. Right, on to lips. So for lips, I think we're going to go supermodel, 90s supermodel. So I'm just going to trace the shape, and then, oh, you've got such a lovely lip shape. And just smile for me like that. Fabulous. I think because we've done quite a shiny eye, I'm going to go for more of a matte lip, but I'm going to put a touch of gloss on as well, just a little bit. So final touch, I'm just going to use one of my more balmy textured lipsticks just to whoosh. That's nice. So this is a very long wearing lip because you've got the velvet underneath, almost like a stain really pushed into the lips, and then we're going to put this one on top. Let's have a look. I love that colour. Wowzers. I'm going to show you the makeup. I haven't got a good mirror here.
Exciting.
Do you know what? Should we do a little hairdo and then we'll do a reveal?
Sounds good.
Okay, brilliant. Wow, your hair looks so good. Love it.
Thank
Right,
you.
you've got to see the whole look now. Ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Da, da, da.
Wow.
You look
That's
gorgeous.
amazing.
Hold that so you can see yourself properly.
Thank you. Whoa, super glam.
Super glam. Soft
Who
glam.
is that?
This
Who's
is your
that?
wedding guest look. Remember?
I don't want to be the bride if this is the wedding guest look. Sorry, just saying.
Yeah, you look super hot. You look gorgeous.
Oh, I love it so much.
Skin looks
Lisa,
lovely,
thank
and
you.
that is going to last as well. That's going nowhere. Beautiful. Love, love, love. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
I've enjoyed it so much. And thank you for all your amazing tips and advice for all your fellow rosacea girls and
Hope
boys.
it helps somebody out there.
Yeah,
Fingers
exactly.
crossed.
Oh, it will. It will. It will. I promise you that.